Now you've had a look at what you'd have to put in. The question is, what will you be able to get back out? Now, because we can track the referrals that are passed between members and BNI chapters, we can give you a really good idea of the amount of business you could expect to see passed in any BNI chapter. Now, it very much depends on the number of members that are in the group. Now, in chapters of around 20 members, do you have an idea how many referrals you think would be passed every single month? Have a guess. 20 members, how many referrals do you think would cross the table in a month? Typically, it's somewhere between 60 and 80. Okay, now that sounds like a lot of referrals, but consider what happens if we increase the size of the group to 30 members. As you can see clearly, there will be more referrals passed, but the interesting point to note here is that while the number of members has increased by 50%, the number of referrals increases by more than 100%, to somewhere between 150 to 180 per month. Now if we increase the size of the group again to 45 plus members, the same exponential increase in the number of referrals is visible. Chapters of this size pass between 250 to 350 referrals every single month. That's month after month, year after year. Now, would you like to be part of a group that generates that sort of level of business opportunities? Remember, these are warm referrals from people who need the products and services of someone in that room. Now remember, these 45 plus people are made up from a diverse range of professions and industries, and usually the more diverse the better. The key thing to remember in BNI is that who is in the room is pretty much irrelevant. Sure, you might well find yourself doing business with the other members in your chapter, but the real potential of joining BNI comes in the access to the thousands of contacts that all the members bring to the table. The fact is that if we're in business, on average, we'll know at least 1,000 people. Some of you will know a lot more than 1,000 people. So if you imagine looking around a room with maybe 12 people sitting around the table, think about the fact that they could potentially give you access to over 12,000 people. Therefore, it follows in the BNI chapter of 45 members, that's access to over 45,000 people. So while plenty of business in BNI chapters gets passed between similar professions, so for example, an accountant will likely get most of the referrals from a banker or a lawyer or an IFA, there's also countless occasions where huge referrals have come from completely unexpected parts of the chapter. We know of one recent referral which has so far amounted to business worth over £400,000 that was given to an accountant by an emergency plumber. So it's not who's in the room, it's who we know. So by now, you're probably wondering what this costs. We've spoken about who we are, what we do, what underpins the success, and the amount of business that you can get. So what's the missing question here? What does it cost? So let's talk about price. To become a member of BNI and get access to all the potential business it generates, there's a one-off registration fee of £110. In addition, there's an annual subscription of £435, and VAT is payable on both these amounts. So it's £545 plus VAT for the first year, and then £435 plus VAT for every year thereafter. Now there's one other cost to consider. All BNI chapters have to pay for the hire of the meeting venue, and included in that are the refreshments served. So this costs about £10 per member per week, and that's typically paid on a monthly basis. I want to stress this is a no-risk investment. If BNI can't get this new Kilbride chapter launched, then you'll get your money back in full. Please do note though, if you were to decide to walk away from the group, your money wouldn't be refunded. So in return for this no-risk investment, we do ask for a strong commitment from you. We're looking for a certain type of person with certain traits, a serious business owner. So you need to make sure that this is right for you before you start, as you're going to need to bring qualified visitors to help the group launch. Now, one of the questions we get asked all the time is what you get for your money. What am I actually going to get for my investment? And if you're wondering whether you should invest £545 to get involved in BNI, there's a couple of questions you might want to ask yourself. Number one, do you think what you've seen here in this presentation is a viable way of generating new business for you or your company? Secondly, how much business could you get if you invested the same amount of money in any other means of generating business? So one other obvious method is to advertise, maybe in the Kilbride News. Clearly the cost varies by region, but typically you'll find the investment to get into BNI will buy you a display ad about the same size as one of our referral slips. And when your ad is printed, it's right next door to your competitor's advert. And that's only for this week. To appear in next week's paper, you've got to make the same investment again. Equally, you could grow your business by employing a marketing agency, or using PR, or taking on extra salespeople. All these are valid ways of growing your business, but for the equivalent investment you'd need to make to get into BNI, are you going to get any return at all? Now, all businesses, as you know, rely on word-of-mouth business. And what BNI provides is a structured way of getting word-of-mouth business. You're basically buying a team of anywhere up to 45 plus highly trained, highly motivated, committed individuals who are carrying around your business cards, looking and listening for referral opportunities for you 7 days a week, 52 weeks of the year. All this, and they don't expect a single penny of commission. So to wrap this all up, I'm just going to outline the process that will take place as the new East Kilbride chapter of BNI gets ready for launch. Initially, we need to get to a minimum of 20 plus people committed to the group. And we'll do this by running regular information meetings, similar to the one that you've just seen, to local business people until we reach that magic number 20. Once we've reached at least 20 members, then we'll close the group off to visitors for a period of 5 weeks, during which time we'll train the group and we'll prepare for a big launch meeting to formally launch the chapter. Now this is just a start. We'll then work with the members to reach 45 plus members, which is where the potential business opportunities are maximised. So in order to get the initial 20 plus, we do ask that all members be prepared to share their contacts and invite people along to come and see what we're building here. There are some big advantages to joining us at the ground floor level. Number one, you get to lock out your competitors by hearing about the group first. Number two, being a founding member tends to provide additional status and hence business within the chapter. Thirdly, in terms of starting to generate business, it's often easier in a core group like this than in an existing chapter. It's much less daunting and it's easier to build relationships with the other members. Lastly, being in the East Kilbride core group means that there are more categories that haven't been filled yet. And it's a great chance to get contacts of yours with whom you've already got a relationship into the group in seats that aren't always available in other BNI chapters. So for example, as an accountant, would you rather your own bank manager was in the group or somebody else's? So ask yourself, are you liking the idea of this in principle? And would you like to lock out your competition? So just before I finish this off, I'd like to guess that you're probably in one of 3 positions right now. You're thinking maybe, yes, this is for me, I want to go ahead, and I don't want my competitor to get into this chapter. Secondly, you might be thinking, I really like it, but I've got a few questions to ask. Or number 3, you think, yeah, it was okay, but it's not right for me at the moment, and I can't make those commitments. So if you're a yes, then you need to get in touch straight away. My contact details are on this page. If you're a maybe, then what I suggest you do is contact me anyway. We can reserve your space because we are looking for people in your industry, and it's feasible that your competition may be at the next meeting. So if you're interested at the moment, I'll make sure that no one else comes into your category, and we'll see what your thoughts are. And if you then say no and you decide it's not for you, then that's fine. We'll rip the forms up and we'll invite someone else in your place. If you decide yes, it is for you, then you'll have locked out your place and your membership application is accepted, and you can just secure it with your payment after that. And then lastly, if you think it's definitely not for you, and that's no problem at all, I hope you enjoyed this presentation. BNI isn't right for everybody. Thanks for your time. So, decide which one you are. Are you a yes? Are you a maybe? Or are you a no? And we'd be love to hear from you. All my details are on the page. Thanks for listening. This is Jonathan Clark, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.